Hello everyone, this is a video over how to join a 6.5 vCenter appliance to an Active Directory domain. This video basically shows how you would allow your Active Directory users to authenticate through your vCenter. This is being done on a vCenter appliance that has an embedded platform services controller, so the computer object that's going to show up in your Active Directory domain will have the same name as the vCenter appliance. The method of doing this is pretty straightforward. Very similar to joining a Windows desktop to a domain or a Windows server to a domain. We just have to do it through the actual vCenter appliance, so the steps are obviously a little different than a normal Windows PC or desktop, but it's very similar steps, and we will show you that in the video. So first we're going to go to Home at the top here in our vSphere web client, and we're going to go to Administration. Now we're going to go to System Configuration. You're going to see a number of options here. You're going to see Nodes and Services. Services will basically show you the vCenter services that are on the vCenter appliance. We're going to go to Nodes, and we're going to click on the vCenter appliance to actually join the vCenter appliance to the domain. So again, that's under Nodes where we're going to go. Then we're going to go to Manage, Active Directory, and we're going to click Join here. Now when this is up, you're going to see Domain, Organization Unit, Username, and Password. So basically wherever you want to put your appliance in your Active Directory domain is the organizational unit you're going to specify, and you have to have a distinguished name in that field. So we're going to go to our Active Directory here, and you see we have a Servers OU, and we're going to just pull the distinguished name from the Servers OU. You can easily find this if Advanced Features is enabled in Active Directory by right-clicking on the OU and going to Properties and going to Attribute Editor and going to Distinguished Name and hit View. And we can just right-click and copy that distinguished name from here and put that into the settings on our vCenter appliance. Again, if you do a lot of work with Active Directory, we know distinguished name is a property used often to show where objects are located in AD. So in this instance, we're going to copy and paste our distinguished name into the organizational unit box here, and that's going to place the vCenter appliance in that OU. Now we simply put in our domain, which in our case is going to be theartofit.local, and we're going to put in a username of any user that has permissions to add machines to the domain. Very similar to adding Windows desktop or server. Any user that has permissions and credentials to add a user to the domain can add the vCenter appliance to the Active Directory domain. And so we're putting in credentials here. We're going to click OK. Now you notice nothing to happen immediately. You may wonder if you did anything, if something's going wrong. And actually, everything's working just fine. If we go back to our Active Directory, we will see here that and refresh the OU, we'll see here that the appliance computer object shows up in the right OU that we specified. So everything's working right here. You just don't really get a good indication in the vCenter appliance that everything's going okay. Finally, to make this work, we have to reboot the appliance in order to get it to apply. Again, very similar to Windows PC or desktop or server. You join it to the domain, you have to reboot it. Same thing with this vCenter appliance. And so we're going to do that in this step here, and that's going to take us, it's going to reboot our appliance. Obviously it's going to kick us out for a second. So I will see you guys on the other side right after it reboots. So give it 1 second here, and we will see everything reboot. Okay, now we have our appliance that's rebooted. We are back at the vCenter login screen. So we're going to go ahead and log in with our administrator account for the vCenter appliance. So we'll just give it a second to log in here. Alright, so now that we're logged in here, we're going to go back to administration, and we're going to go back to system configuration. And if we go to nodes and we click on our vCenter appliance, we will see the domain is actually joined to the artofit.local. So this is something that you won't see until you actually reboot the appliance. So it's very important to reboot the appliance to get the full effect of the integration with Windows and Active Directory. Now we're going to go over to configuration, and we're going to configure our identity sources. If we did not add the appliance to the domain before, we would not be able to add the identity sources as easily for Windows integration. We're going to hit the plus icon, and we'll hit next for Active Directory integrated Windows authentication. And we're going to use the machine account, and the machine account is what we used to join to the domain previously. If we did not have that set up, we would have to use a service principal name or some sort of service account. So it's just a lot easier to just have the computer joined to the domain, so you don't have to worry about that step. So now that that is ready to go, we can go ahead and hit next here and finish. And you'll see the artofit.local has been added to the Active Directory domain. Now if we go to users and groups and click the down arrow, we will see the artofit.local, and if we click that, we'll see all of our users that are located in our domain. And we can have a lot of stuff. This is not users that actually have access to vCenter, and this is just showing users in our domain. So now we're going to set up permissions for users to have access. So if we go to global permissions and we hit the plus icon, we're going to hit add here, and we're going to hit the down arrow under the domains tab. So we're setting a group here, and I set up domain admins, and we're going to do a search here. Okay, and that's not because we're in our local domain, so we need to go to that's our Active Directory domain here. So we'll go to .local. Now you can see our domain admins group, and we're going to give that domain admins group full permissions to access this vCenter. That's typical in most environments. Domain admins usually have full access to vCenter. Obviously, in very large environments where delegation of privileges is divided up more significantly, then those groups can be pared down a little bit more. So we give them global permissions here. And I also like to go into the vCenter object at the top and also give any user that need full access to the vCenter environment access at the vCenter appliance level at the top here. So if I right click here, and I'm going to add permissions, and just like before, I'm going to go over to users and groups, add, make sure my domain is selected to my Active Directory domain, add domain admins, and now say click OK here, and click OK here at the bottom. And all the permissions should be added at this point. So now it's really just a matter of us logging out and testing and seeing, hey, can we actually log into our appliance for our Active Directory user account? So we go in and we log in. Since this computer is not a domain joined computer, I'm not checking a box to use Windows session authentication, but I am logging in with my domain credentials of tjohnson for the artofit.local. So I'm entering my credentials here and log in. And we can now see that we're able to log into our vCenter appliance with our Active Directory credentials. But yes, this is basically the process of how to join an appliance to an Active Directory domain. Again, if it was a setup with an external platform services controller, the external platform services controller would be the computer object that you would see in your domain. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we will have more to come. And thanks for watching. Hopefully it's helpful. Thanks.